Hi guys, today we are going to read about how to read the psychometric chart and how to get the values of from the psychometric chart. This chart is very important. Uh, this chart is very important for the designing and designing of heating and cooling load and designing of the air conditioning system of any of the building. Before going in details, you can see you can see on your screen, this is just a complex type of charts. In this type of charts there are different types of lines, and every line has specific value. And you can see in on a color scheme. It shows while the yellow screen shows dehumidification, on the top of that it's a humidification, then the sensible cooling, sensible heating, cooling and dehumidification, heating and dehumidification, cooling and humidification, and heating and humidification. These charts all tell us all these values in a single chart. And what if we go to the simple this screen, it shows just a saturation line. As we have read before, that what is the saturation line? It's that line on which beyond this, this is a separation line of saturation point. This is on after the beyond this, on the right hand side, it's a mixture of air and humidity, mixture, air and moisture mixture, while on the left hand side there is no moisture in that on that air. And on this on this screen, now we will go in a detail of each of the line, what each line tells us in a psychometric chart. On this screen you can see that these are shown as blue lines. On the bottom x-axis, it shows it's a dry bulb temperature. Dry bulb temperature, it starts from 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and this is just a dry bulb these lines indicates on all these lines going vertically up, it shows the dry bulb temperature of any sorry for that, at any temperature you can get the dry bulb temperature over here. While while on the y axis you can see this is a black curve. It's a humidity ratio. Is from 10, 20, 40, 50, 30, 40, 50. Similarly, we will go in detail of that one. That there is a constant humidity ratio. Constant humidity ratio shows with the horizontal lines. These green horizontal lines shows the constant humidity ratio of the air humor mixture at any constant at any temperature. Then there you can say is a saturation temperature and a dew point temperature. In this way, it's mentioned over there. Uh, this line, this slope line shows the dew point temperature. Uh, this is a constant relative humidity. On this can show with red lines. It shows the relative humidity. It's relative humidity is always shown in the percentage. It's a 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Then these lines show specific volume. The specific volume. You know that what's the specific volume of the dry air. These black slanted lines shows the constant volume, or the constant specific volume of the air and moisture mixture. Then there is a constant wet bulb temperature. You can see these lines are a little bit different. Don't be confused and get familiar. You have to get very much familiar with with this psychometric chart and these lines. There's a wet bulb temperature, and the bottom one we show that it's a dry bulb temperature. On the y-axis this is a humidity ratio. These lines are constant. This wet bulb temperature is 0, 5, 10, 15. It's in a Fahrenheit. And this from this chart, these types of different types of charts you can see with the different values, but the lines are the similar one. And these lines shows a constant enthalpy. We know the enthalpy. I'm not going in detail what's the enthalpy and how why we need the enthalpy. I'm just going here for only the detail of the psychrometric chart. What's enthalpy is, and these lines shows the const is the enthalpy values. This is a constant enthalpy, and then you can see these now it shows the different values all together. This is a wet bulb temperature and the constant enthalpy lines. These are just like the similar lines but different values, different colors, or it has different slope, a little bit different from each other. You have to get very much familiar with each other. And now it's we all together. We just go the typical chart with the enthalpy lines. All with the enthalpy lines, you can see that these red lines are the enthalpy lines, and then the wet bulb temperature, relative humidity, and vapor pressure, and dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature. And you can see the graph in different views, but they have the if you want to find at any state point in this graph, you can see that this only specific state point is mentioned, and any specific state point, if it's mentioned, we can get the values. We can find the different values. And now we will go for a practice of the psychrometric chart, how we have to read for this one. And just for example, it's a sea level subtle. The dry bulb temperature is given at that's 70°F, and relative humidity is given at 60%. That's a specific one point, and we can find we can locate that point in the psychrometric chart. In this chart, it shows 70. This is a dry bulb temperature, so 70°, 70°F. That's mentioned. And secondly, and we know it's mentioned, we want that state point at a 60% relative humidity and 70° dry bulb temperature, and you got this point here. And when you mark that point in the psychrometric chart, you can find other values. That's what's required here, or what wet bulb temperature is required. And wet bulb temperature, you can directly get the value from the you can get the directly value from psychrometric chart, and relative humidity, and whatever we want to find. If any points is mentioned, if only for the marking of the straight point, we just need the two values. If two values is given, we can mark that point, and the all other values, whatever we want to find, we can get from the psychrometric chart. You have to go through these charts. Similarly, here what bulb temperature is where we have marked the value at that point. It shows it's a 61°F. And similarly, the dew point, we want to find the dew point, we can find the dew point as well, which is 55.5°F. And specific volume is 13.6 feet cube per pound of dry air. And humidity ratio, we can, if we have that point, we can find the humidity ratio. Here humidity ratio is the horizontal line. It shows humidity ratio is 0.09594 pound of water per pound dry air, and we can calculate in a similar way. And similarly, we can find the enthalpy, because its enthalpy lines are also mentioned in the small psychrometric chart. And enthalpy is 27 BTU per pound of dry air. And this is just a simple way, and these are further examples are given how to find the dry air, how to find the sensible heating of this one, sensible heating of any furnace, if you want to mark the point at any here, and we will want to know the sensible heating, how much sensible heating it is required, we can just find it from the psychrometric chart. Just go through all these ones, and here it shows one of the example that raise the temperature, room temperature 1°F at constant humidity ratio. The volume of we have to find the volume of the bedroom. Here it's we find the volume of the volume. Volume divided by specific volume is the mass of air per total mass of the air. We can find the total mass of the air, and mass of the air with the specific enthalpy is the heat input. How much BTU we required for that one. We just mark all this on the psychrometric chart, and we can find different values. Just go through these ones, and these are similarly for an energy balance, mass balance, we get all these values from the psychrometric chart, and we have to calculate other things, other things from different equations. Using those equations we can get this one. Just before going ahead from the heating and cooling load calculation of any building, any commercial or residential building, we just know how to read the psychrometric chart. I just want you just go through this all these lectures, uh, all the lectures, and then in the next lecture we will try to go for the heating and cooling load calculations. This is a killing. You just go through all these ones. This is a cooling system. What's the latent heat? Let's the sensible heat, and just get a good quality of psychrometric chart, and we will go through the different questions and then the formula. And this is if you go for this one, there's a total heat, then the sensible heat, and then there's a latent heat. Just simply go through all these ones, and I think you are quite familiar with the heat transfer. These is all the similar equations. These are not the new equations and which you haven't read before. I just want you to go through all of these ones, and if you feel any difficulty, just contact me, and we will have a detailed discussions. And if any single person has any query, he can contact me personally. Otherwise, we can have a interactive sessions of interactive sessions whenever you guys are free. And I think that these lecture will be enough for you to go for a psychometric chart. And wish you best of luck. Stay safe and feel free whenever you want. Any questions from me? And thank you.